How do you know if your user stories are ready for the sprint? How do you know if they're good enough quality? Hello, my name is Tim McDearman. I'm a software development project manager living in Tampa, Florida. And today I'm going to give you a acronym that you can use to test the quality of your sprint stories. It's an acronym called INVEST, thus I'm standing in front of the Bank of America. INVEST. The INVEST starts with an I. The I stands for independent. Your user stories need to be independent of one another. If they have dependencies, that can create blockers, and you don't want that. So try to make them as independent as you can. Then the N in INVEST stands for the negotiable. Negotiable. You want your user stories not to be they're not a contract. They're not set in stone. You have to be able to have negotiations on these stories. If you try to make them into a contract, that takes a lot of time. Waste a lot of time. So don't take them to that extreme. The V in INVEST stands for value. They have to be something that's tied to value to the customer, value to the business. If you can't figure out what the value of the story is, then perhaps it's not really perhaps it's a task, something that should be associated with a user story, not something that stands alone. Now, the next letter is E. E stands for estimatable. Your user stories have to be something that can be estimated. You have to know when they're going to be, what the status is of them, so you can know how much time they're going to take. If you can't tell that, then perhaps they're too large. Perhaps they're actually an epic. It's something that needs to be broken down. Now, the S stands for size. S means that we only have 2 weeks in a sprint, or a certain number of days, so anything that would take longer than 2 weeks needs to be broken down. And the T stands for testable. It has to be something that you can test. If there's not something that you can test for, again, perhaps it's an epic situation. It needs to be broken down into things that you can actually test. So that's it. It's a good acronym for testing the quality of your user stories to see if they're actually ready to be incorporated into a sprint. Otherwise, they need to remain in the backlog and be scrubbed a little bit more. Thank you. Now I got to go to the bank and make a